In Sifu, you play as an unnamed Jackie Chan impersonator on a mission to avenge your father's murder, which I'm pretty sure is the first time that plotline has ever been used in a martial arts story. Your mission is to track down all 5 of the people involved in your father's murder, exact revenge, or not, the choice is yours. As for the pros, the combat is phenomenal, which is obviously key for a game like Sifu, as it's essentially a new age beat 'em up. There's no puzzles, no item management, no crafting systems. You are simply fighting your way through every area. And the combat can be as simple or as deep as you like. You can simply avoid and counter with spamming the heavy attack, or you can time your parries, stun the enemy, and counter with proper combos. You can also choose to play offensively, defensively, or a mix of both, as finishing takedowns can be performed on the enemy when either their health drops too low or their structure bar, which is stamina, is too high. Dropping their health is pretty straightforward. Land attacks on your enemies, their health goes down. Raising their structure bar, however, is a little more involved, as you can avoid, block, or parry to tire them out. One element that is essential to your success is crowd control, as allowing yourself to get surrounded is a death wish. Luckily, this can also be approached in different ways. If you find yourself surrounded, you can push enemies back, leg sweep, or do the good old switcheroo to get out of a jam. You can also use the environment to help funnel enemies into an area that makes it more difficult for them to surround you. The death aging mechanic. I enjoyed this mechanic more than I thought I would. How this works is, you have a death counter, and every time you die, this death counter increases by 1. Simultaneously, your age increases by the value of your death counter. Die over the age of 70 and it's game over. Stringing together attacks without taking damage, taking out buffed enemies, and defeating bosses all have chances to lower your death counter by 1. It's important to note that as you age, your attack damage increases, but your max health decreases. Also, your age is carried over from the previous level, meaning if you start level 3 at age 60, the only way to lower that age is to replay a previous level and complete it at a lower age. Kept non-combat aspects simple. I enjoyed that they kept most of the non-gameplay elements simple. The story is a simple story of revenge, enough to keep you driving forward, yet not enough to take focus away from the combat. In the hideout, there's an upgrade tree, detective board, and training area. Everything but the training area can be accessed through the in-game menu, so there's not much need to spend time here. As for upgrades, you can upgrade your moveset temporarily or permanently to use on later playthroughs, as well as find in-game shrines to buff your stats like max health, weapon strength, and faster bar regeneration. They're all simple to understand and quick to assign. The levels and environments, they all felt unique. Their distinct identity made completing the previous level that you just spent an hour struggling on really satisfying, as you get an entirely different vibe and you can put that last level behind you. The short length. This game is all killer, no filler. An attempt to lengthen this game would likely have meant some filler, and this game has none. Now for the cons. The underutilized 2D fights. I loved when this game switched to 2D. It gave it an awesome old school vibe, and the combat was just as satisfying. There was only one problem with it. It only happened twice in the entire game. I would have liked more of this. Maybe even an entire 2D level and boss fight would have been cool. But in my opinion, they underutilized this part of the experience for sure. Graphics. The next 2 cons are likely specific to the Switch, such as graphics. They're pretty rough, especially when standing still and looking at a detailed scene. The Switch definitely struggles keeping up in this regard. Luckily, the gameplay does not suffer at all. While in combat, it was unnoticeable for me, and I was too focused on staying alive. Game crashes. My game crashed twice in the same room at the same spot, but this was out of maybe 15 times going through that room. Not a big deal, especially because I restarted right outside of that room when I booted the game back up. It's worth mentioning in the con section, but it wasn't really a big deal. Now for a score. 4.20 stars out of 5. I love this game. It is so polished and so fun, I cannot recommend it enough. If you're concerned about the difficulty, I will say that it's one of the easier hard games out there. It's very pattern based, and once you find your style and learn the patterns, you'll be John Wicking your way through it in no time, I promise. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give this one a go, and I'll catch you on the next one.